welcome to BioXplaining. This is me, your biology educator Anushka, and in this video series, we'll be doing diagram-based questions for CBSE Class 10. The diagrams are going to be NCERT based, and we are going to talk about the different parts of a diagram and the functions of those parts wherever applicable. So stay tuned with us and enjoy the session. Thank you. This is the first diagram. Identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and also try answering the function of each of those parts. Okay, let's check and discuss. So part number 1 is the nucleus, 2 is the dendrite, then we have 3, it is the cell body, 4 is the axon and 5 is the axon endings. Now, discussing the functions. So first you have the nucleus, and it is very well known that the nucleus is basically known as the brain of a cell. Same thing here also, right? That the nucleus will be controlling all the important activities of the neuron. Then number 2 is the dendrite. So what is the function of the dendrite? The dendrite will be collecting information. So we can say it collects signals and transports it to the axon. Okay, collect signals and transports to the axon. Then number 3 is the cell body, that is the region surrounding the nucleus. So if you have marked this as the cyton or you have marked this as the perikaryon, in that case also your answer is correct. And then part 4 is the axon. This is the longest part of the neuron. So what is its function? Its function is to conduct the information from the dendrite to the axon endings or the nerve endings. Right? So fifth one is nerve endings, and we also term this as axon terminals. That is also correct. Okay, so we are good with the first diagram, which shows us the parts of a neuron, that is a single nerve cell. Okay, let's check. Part 1 is the axon, part number 2 is the neuromuscular junction, part 3 is a muscle fiber, part 4 is the capillary, and part 5 is the mitochondria. So axon, we know till now that this has brought the information from the cell body to the axon terminals, right? So at the end, what has happened? This is the region of the junction between the neuron and the muscle. So that is why number 3 is your muscle fiber, right? And then if you zoom into this region, you will see that there are multiple mitochondria that are present. And what is the function of the mitochondria? We know that the mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell, right? So powerhouse of the cell, meaning that it will be producing energy. It gives us energy. Okay. What's with this diagram? What is this diagram showing? This is showing us a reflex arc, right? So what is a reflex arc? A reflex arc is the shortest pathway by which your body responds to a stimuli, a change in the external environment. Let's start from here. Let's say that you have touched a hot object. So this one is marked as receptors, heat or pain receptors of your skin. Then the second part marked are the sensory neurons. What is the job of the sensory neurons? The sensory neurons will be, they conduct information, or rather I can write that it conducts messages. Let me write in this way. Okay, conducts messages from the receptor to the CNS. From the receptor to the CNS, the central nervous system. It is important to know that which part of the central nervous system. It is going to take the information to the spinal cord, no brain, spinal cord. Okay. From the spinal cord, what happens? The message in the sensory neuron comes to the relay neuron. So this relay neuron is basically also termed as interneuron. That is, they are going to relay or conduct messages from one neuron to the other. So it will conduct message from the sensory neuron to the motor neuron. Okay, so motor neuron function, if we have to say, I'll just take it here. The function of the motor neuron is, its job is to, it conducts impulses from the CNS, that is the spinal cord, to the effector. Okay, to the effector. So who is the effector in this case? The effector is the muscle in your arm, part number 6. So your effector can either be a muscle or it can also be a gland. Okay. So these 6 parts, I guess, are clear. No, 6, no. These should be, 6 parts are clear, I guess. Okay, so what's with figure D? This shows us a cross section of the brain, right? Rather, this way, a longitudinal section of the brain. Okay. Okay. Now, part number 1, this one, top one. Yeah, part 1 is the cerebrum. So, the cerebrum is the bulk part of the brain, right? The bulk part of the brain. I'll write in short. Okay, then functionally, what does the cerebrum do? The cerebrum is the seat of intelligence. What do we mean by the seat of intelligence? We mean to say कि जितना भी आपका क्या है ना, thinking, all kinds of thinking, reasoning, mathematical abilities, all of those comes from the cerebrum. Okay, so this is with the cerebrum. Now, this second part, what is it showing? It is showing the cranium or the skull, that is the covering of the brain, right? So cranium or the skull, this is basically nothing but your brain box. So this is a part of the skeletal system that, what does it do? Is it protects the delicate brain inside. That's its job. Then part number 3 is your forebrain. What do we refer when we say the forebrain? The forebrain refers to the front part of the brain. This is the front part of the brain. Okay. Then we have this one, the midbrain. Part number 4 is the midbrain, in the center part of the brain. Then you have part number 5 here. What is part 5? Part 5, you see, is ekdam the end of the brain, right? It's going down. So this is the spinal cord. What is the job of the spinal cord? The spinal cord transmits impulses from the brain to further downwards and then to all other parts of the body. Okay, so the spinal cord is also a part of the central nervous system. Okay. Then what do we have? Part number 6. Acha, so part number 6 here is made out of A, B, C. So A is the pons here, then B is the medulla, then C is the cerebellum, right? So A pons, B medulla. What do we mean when we say medulla? The full term, I'll just mark out B here in full. This is the medulla oblongata, right? So I guess you all know that what is the meaning of medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata means that it is the structure which takes care of your involuntary activities or controls the function of the internal organs. ठीक है? Huh? So basically it controls the involuntary activities of the body. ठीक है. And then you have the cerebellum. What is the job of the cerebellum? The cerebellum controls, the muscular movements of the body, right? Cerebellum controls muscular coordination, we can say. Muscular coordination. So one simple thing, you all have noticed, I guess, कि drunkards walk very clumsily. If somebody has had a lot of alcohol, सीधा चल नहीं पाते. They'll walk very clumsily. Why is that? That is because the alcohol goes and affects the cerebellum. So the person doesn't have any muscular coordinations. Doesn't know how to put the steps. Walks very clumsily. Okay, 6 done. Then what we have, 7th is the hypothalamus. What do we call the hypothalamus to be? Hypothalamus, is a body ka temperature switch, we can say. Right? So this is known as the thermo switch of the body. That is, it controls your body temperatures. And part number 8, what do we have? Part number 8 is the pituitary gland. Right? So pituitary gland आपका क्या role है? I'll write it here on top. The pituitary gland is known as the master gland of the body. Why is it known as the master gland of the body? Because it secretes hormones which will go and then influence the working of the other glands, the other endocrine glands, so that they can secrete their own hormones. I guess this sectioning of the brain is fully clear. Okay, so this is very simple ना. ये आपको क्या दिखा रहा है? This is showing you tropism. What kind of tropism? Specifically showing you geotropism. What is it showing? Number one is negatively geotropic. Say this is the shoot part of the plant, right? This is the shoot. That is the stem region. And this one is the root. So what does the shoot do? The shoot always tries to go away from the soil, away from the soil, away from the soil. So that is negatively geotropic. And what does your root do? Your root wants to go towards the soil. ठीक है? Towards the soil. Alternatively, while marking out tropism, you could have also marked that this one, the shoot, is positively phototropic. Positively phototropic. What does positively phototropic mean? It means that, what spelling am I writing? Excuse me. Phototropic, yeah. Positively phototropic. Matlab, it always wants to go towards photo, light. That is towards light. And on the other hand, आपका root का क्या है? The root is basically negatively phototropic. Okay. What is the meaning of negatively phototropic? Negatively phototropic means that it is going away from light. Away from light. Okay. So this is a very simple one. I guess it's clear. Okay, ये वाला क्या है? This diagram is showing you the major endocrine glands of the human body, male body rather. Endocrine glands of the human in this diagram, male body. ठीक है? चलो. Number one is what? Number one is the pineal gland, right on top. What is the function of the pineal gland? The pineal gland secretes a hormone known as melatonin hormone. Melatonin hormone. बहुत से बच्चे confuse कर देते हैं melanin के साथ. ना, this is melatonin. That is, we say the pineal gland regulates the sleep-wake cycle. Sleep-wake cycle. ठीक है? Then second क्या है? Second we have is the pituitary gland. So this pituitary gland is known as the master gland of the body. Master gland. What is its function? What does it secrete? It will secrete growth hormone. I'll write in short. Right? Growth hormone. Then it secretes thyroid stimulating hormone. Then it secretes the different other hormones are there. जैसे कि आपका हो गया, this is for anterior pituitary, right? Growth hormone, TSH, these are for your anterior pituitary. There are others also. Anterior part. And then for the posterior part क्या क्या आता है? Posterior part में you'll get the oxytocin and then your vasopressin. Vasopressin. What is vasopressin? Antidiuretic hormone, ADH. ठीक है? So this comes from the posterior part of the pituitary. Okay, huh? Is it fine? That pituitary has two lobes, anterior and posterior. Each will have their own set of different hormones. Next, what you have? Next one, see that we have three hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, I just told you that it basically does multiple functions, out of which the most important one is it regulates your body temperature. So that is why इसे हम thermo switch भी बुला लेते. Then क्या है? Fourth one is the thyroid gland. What is the work of the thyroid gland? The thyroid gland's job is it is going to secrete, it secretes thyroxine. Thyroxine hormone. This is known as T4. And remember for added info कि ये वाला T4 को बनने के लिए क्या चाहिए होता है? It requires iodine. Iodine is very essential for its functioning. And if this hormone or iodine is present in deficit, then it leads to the disease that is called simple goiter. Okay, so simple goiter is the disease that is produced in case of the deficit of this hormone. ठीक है? Next क्या आता है? Number 5. Number 5 you have the parathyroid glands. Parathyroid glands, you know, are basically linked to the they're very close to the thyroid gland, and they are involved in they will control the calcium levels of the body. इतना important नहीं है function जानना. Then sixth what you have? Sixth you have the thymus. So more than having endocrine roles, this thymus has huge role in the immunity of the body. What is the role of thymus in the body ka immunity? This is the site where T lymphocytes mature. Site for maturation of T lymphocytes. ठीक है? T lymphocytes are a kind of lymphocytes, that is your immune cells, which will help to strengthen your immunity. They'll go and fight with the germs, the virus, bacteria that has entered your body. Then seventh में क्या आता है? Seventh में आता है adrenal gland. It gets its name because kidney related anything is renal. On top of the kidney, so adrenal. What is its function? It will secrete hormones such as, one hormone though is adrenaline, comes from the adrenal medulla. Then other than that, it secretes hormones such as cortisols. Okay, mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, all those are released. So this adrenaline is known as the emergency hormone of your body. Emergency hormone, fight or flight response. Number 8, what do we have? Yes, this is the pancreas over here. Now, the pancreas is a little different than all the others because ये वाला क्या है? This is a mixed gland. Why is the pancreas known as a mixed gland? Because it has both exocrine and endocrine functions. Exocrine function is that it has roles in your digestive system. It secretes the pancreatic juice. And endocrine function is that it will secrete important hormones, that is insulin, which lowers blood glucose level. Then it also secretes glucagon, which helps to increase the blood glucose level. And there is another called somatostatin. We just need to know these two. Okay, and since this is the male body, the gonad that has been included here is number 9, that is the testis. What is its job? Testis has different roles. First work is to produce sperms, that is to there. But since we are talking about the endocrine function, only hormone wala, so it produces Testosterone. Testosterone, right? This is also known as androgen, the male body hormone. Okay, so I guess all of it is clear. Okay, these are very simple. The first one shows binary fission in amoeba. Let's write down binary fission in amoeba. Okay. So first you are seeing that you have an amoeba parent cell. So from this parent cell, see what is happening. The nucleus has started to lengthen, right? So this is basically, you can say that growth in nucleus. Nucleus has started to increase in size. And then what happens? Then the nucleus has started to duplicate, right? After that, ultimately, you see that here what I can say is that this is the duplicated nucleus. Okay. And then ultimately what you have is these are the two daughter cells which are the clones of the parent. Fine. Next one is again binary fission, but this is, yes, I hope sabne already you have answered. This is in Leishmania. Binary fission in Leishmania. Okay, so one is binary fission in amoeba, the other is binary fission in Leishmania. Okay, so figure H. Number 1 is showing us, this is planaria ka diagram, right? Regeneration in planaria. So what is the meaning of regeneration in planaria? It means that when, say, this is the parent body of planaria. So if this is cut into 3 pieces, then each piece has the ability to grow into an individual organism on its own. So that is the entire concept of regeneration. Then number two is showing us budding in hydra. Okay, this is budding in hydra. So what is number 1? Number 1 refers to the parent hydra. Let me just, where do I write? Yahin pe likh dete. Number 1 is the parent hydra. And after number 1, I'll directly talk about 5. 5 refers to the tentacles of hydra. Okay. Then what is number 2? Number 2, you see a small bud has started to develop. So इसे हम लोग कहेंगे this is a developing bud. Okay, this is a developing bud. And number 3, what you have? Number 3, you see this bud has completely developed. So now what do we call this? Now we can say this is the developed bud already. Developed bud. Ya to we can also say that this is the new bud. Right? And ekdam number 4, the bud has detached from the parent body. So this is your new hydra that has been formed. Okay? So these are the steps of budding in hydra. Figure I. Number 1 is what? Number 1 refers to the stigma. Okay, so what is this part? This is the part. It receives the pollen grains. Then 2 is the style, the long slender part of the female part. Then 3 is the ovary. Stigma style ovary. So 1, 2, 3 together will lead to the formation of the pistil. Okay. Then 5 is the anther, the bilobed tip, and then number 6 refers to the filament. So 5 and 6, anther and filament together lead to, this is known as the stamen, the unit of the male reproductive part of a flower. Then 8, what do we have? 8 is the petal, right? And 9 refers to the sepal. Now what I'll do is, with a separate color, I'll talk about the name of the collective whorls. ठीक है ना? So let us start from the outermost wall. The first wall is made out of sepals. So this is known as the calyx. Okay. Then petal, this one is corolla. Then आता है stamen. So this is the male part of a flower, है ना? The male part. So this one's collective unit is known as the androecium. Yes. And then it comes the female part made out of pistils. So this is termed as gynoecium. Okay. Huh? Once again, I'll just quickly tell you the roles of the male and the female part. The anther has the job of producing gametes. Okay, I'll write 1 minute. Anther has the job of producing the pollen grains. Produces pollen grains. Right? These pollen grains are transferred to the stigma. So stigma receives the pollen grains. Then the style will be, if it is the correct pollen grain, the style will allow the pollen tube to grow and it enters the ovary. So inside the ovary, what do we have? See nicely, inside the ovary, these dotted structures, we can say that these are the ovules. These, the ovules. Okay, so ovary is the site of fertilization. Contains the ovules. As soon as the male gametes will enter, the fertilization will take place. Okay, so I guess this is also clear. And yes, what does this diagram show? This basically shows you a part of a bisexual flower. It's a section of a bisexual flower. Clear? Let's get started. So this shows you the event just before fertilization, right? So it is a diagram that's showing you a female reproductive part, a pistil, and the event that's occurring before fertilization. So number 1 is the pollen grain, which has landed on the stigma. So 2 is the part where it has landed. So 2 is stigma. Then part 3 is, see carefully, part 3 is, pointing out towards this one. So part 3, we can call this to be the male germ cell. Okay, or in other words, you can also call it to be the male gamete. Then part 4 is the pollen tube. So this is a tube extended from the pollen grain. Then part 5 refers to the ovary, inside which in number 6 the female germ cell is marked. Female germ cell. So just for a quick info, I'll tell you, if this is the structure inside an ovule, the embryo sac, what you can expect is that you will have in the lower side this way 3 cells, center may 1 cell with 2 nucleus, and on top again 3 cells. So out of these 3 at the bottom, one is known as the egg. Okay, so this is the female germ cell. The other 2, if you want to know, these are your synergids. Then in the center, you have the polar cell or the central cell. And on top, you have the antipodal cells. The 3 cells are antipodal cells. Okay, so this egg is what? This is the female germ cell that we have marked here. The female germ cell or the egg. The male germ cell and the female germ cell will fuse together. These are haploids. They will fuse together and lead to the formation of the zygote. Okay, so with this we are done with the first part of our diagram based questions. We have practiced 10 diagrams from NCERT along with their parts and functions. Now practice well and stay tuned with us. I'll be coming up with the next part of this series. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, and yes, please subscribe to my channel BioXplaining by Anushka so that you can get more of such informative and useful videos for your upcoming exams. Thank you. Bye-bye.